Welcome back to video number 3. This one is all about the media library. So we are going to navigate to the top left panel. So we covered site settings, design settings, and now media library. We're going to click into here, and just like before in the second video, it's going to pull up the media library. You can see that we have folders in here, so you can drag and drop or click upload files to put in all of your photos, your brand elements, and your fonts, and then you can choose to organize them in folders. The way that you do this is just select the ones that you want. So for example, if we selected these, I can hold down Command to select multiple, and then you can either move them to the folder, you can delete them, you can add a folder to organize your content, whatever works best for you. Some people like to organize it by type of file, some people like to organize it by, what page they want their content on, so it's totally up to you, but just know that the media library can get a little crazy, and so it's always best to organize your files so that things are really easy to find once you want to start customizing and switching out images. The files that you can upload are PNGs, you can do GIFs, your standard JPEGs, PDFs, those WAF files that we were talking about for the fonts, and then even video, so MP4 files, as long as they're under 8 megabytes. And those are going to be used for the video backgrounds. Now that we have images and files in our media library, we can start to go through and switch out some images on the site. So if we close out of the media library, you'll see that we are on the home page and we have what's called this hero canvas. This is the very first canvas that you'll see on the web page. So I clicked on this canvas, on this image, and you can see that we have the option to swap image. This is what pulls up in this panel. You might see size and positioning or click actions, but if you go up to image, you can swap image. When I do this, it's going to bring up the media library for me to select a new image to put here. I also can just double click, and that will bring up the media library as well. And then I'll select, and it will replace that image. So that works for all the images on your website. So for this one, again, we can click and hit swap image, or we can double click and bring up the media library automatically and swap out an image there. Instead of using these placeholders, you also can choose to add a new image by going down here to the bottom center and clicking on Media Library, and then selecting an element or an image that you want to add and click Add to Page. This will pull it up inside of your canvas. If you click on Page over here, you can see where we are. So we're on the About canvas, and this is our graphic that we just pulled in. If I hold down Shift, I can resize this image and continue those proportions. I can kind of change it however I want to. Say we want this over here on the corner. Now you can see that it isn't quite right. It's getting cropped. And so this is a great time to introduce the adjustment properties. So we're going to click on our image here, and we're going to go to size and position. So here we can center to the canvas. We can center it vertically or horizontally, but I like it on the corner of this image. So now what we're going to do is go back up to image here, and we have size. Right now it's on fill, so it's filling up the entire box that we've created. So if we make this box really long, it's going to fill up the whole thing. I want it to be this size, but I want the heart to not be cut off. So what we're going to do is change this from fill to contain. So now the entire image is going to fill up the box without getting cut off. So that is a good just thing to note if you're not liking the way that your image is being cropped. Another thing that you can do is you can do stretch and scale. Now stretch is going to distort your image, so if I bring this up, it's going to change it. That one is not commonly used. I actually would stick to scale. So what we're going to do is click on scale, and now we can adjust the percentage. So we can adjust here, we can adjust it horizontally and vertically. Now this isn't the best for icons, so if we swap this out to another image, for example this one here, you can see we have it on scale, and then we can adjust the properties so that we can control how this image is being cropped. So I want her to be more in the center of the photo. So what we're going to do is maybe drop down the percentage a little bit, and then we can adjust this horizontal percentage so that we like the cropping. I don't want her face to be too close to the top, so we're going to bring it down just a little bit. So if you don't like the cropping of your image, you can totally scale using these proportions, scale using this option, or choosing fill from here. Another option you have is adjusting the opacity. So if you go down to effects, you'll see that we have opacity here. We can change this to whatever we like, as well as add things like drop shadows with, different colors to kind of give your images a little bit more of an effect. To delete an image, all I have to do is click on something and enter the delete key, and then it will disappear from your canvas. You also can delete elements by clicking on the property over here and then here and delete. So continuing down, besides swapping out images that already exist as placeholders or adding new images, you also can add images and video as canvas background. So on this canvas, for example, we have a color as the background. You also can check a media type. And I'm going to demo this actually on the landing page here. So this is where you can input some freebie signups or have it collect email addresses. And what you want to do is on the back of here, if you'll click on the canvas, you'll see canvas background, media type, image. And so if you click on here, you can swap out the image that loads. For example, if we want to use this image instead, it will replace it. Now we have some additional styling options as well. So you'll want to go to preview, and this is how you can preview the way that your site is looking. So it is just kind of fixed in the background. It doesn't move. What we can do to add an effect is change from scroll with page to either parallax or fixed. So parallax, if we hit preview, you'll see now when I scroll, there's a little bit of movement you can see on the background. We also can change it to fixed. Go to preview and see now when I scroll, there's even more movement. This is kind of a separate layer and the background stays in one place, it stays fixed, and everything else sort of scrolls on top of it. You can play around with those settings to kind of get exactly what you're looking for. While we're on the landing page, let's actually talk about inputting a embed code. So if you have an email provider, something like Flowdesk or MailChimp, you can get what's called an embed code to sign up for your email list. So what you'll do is next to Media Library, you'll go down here and click on embed code. It'll pull up this basically code block, and you'll want to size it to about the size of the block that's already on here. And now when you double click, you'll just copy and paste the code that your email provider gives you, and it will populate with the opt-in that you've designed in your email provider. You'll also probably want to delete what's already here. This is kind of just a placeholder, and then this will appear. Now, depending on your email provider, it might not show up in the back end. Again, you might have to hit preview to be able to see the changes. So that's just a little heads up on this landing page and how embed codes work. Another area that works similar to embed codes is actually in your footer. So we're going to click on edit footer, and you'll see we have these images here. Now you can replace these with static images just like you would on the rest of your site by double clicking. You also can use this as a placeholder for something like your Instagram. So if we go down here, and instead of embed code, we're going to click on social grid, and here you can size this whatever works for you. I'm going to kind of just size it exactly what we have going on here. And now I can connect my Instagram. So if you haven't connected your Instagram before, a little button will pop up here, and you'll go through connecting your Instagram. Once you do, you can adjust how the images will display. So right now I'm going to set what's called fallback images so we can test this out. So I'm going to go over to fallback images. I'm going to click on manage images, and I'm just going to select some by clicking on just some different images I have here. Perfect. So you can see I held down command and I selected the ones I wanted. Now I'm going to pop on this little arrow, and it's going to bring them over here into basically a gallery. So let's add just one more. Pop that over. Great. Okay, so now we're going to hit save, and it is going to start loading my images. Now we have 5, but it's only showing 4, so I might want to adjust this a little bit. And then if I go to social grid settings, I can adjust the gap. Maybe I want there to be a bigger gap. I want there to be a smaller gap. Maybe I want there to be, 2 rows of images. whatever kind of works best for you. You can size this and play around with it, but this is a way that basically you can embed your Instagram feed into your site. So it's not going to show the fallback images unless for some reason your Instagram gets disconnected. This will be kind of just like a placeholder on the back end of your site for your live Instagram. So although you're embedding your Instagram, this is actually, your fallback images are actually basically a gallery. So if you double click on here, you can go to, oops, let me click off. You double click on here, you can go to fallback images and then manage images. And this is exactly how galleries work on your page. So you select the images that you want, you click the arrow to add them into the gallery, and then you can reorder them if you want to. You can delete ones that are in there. You can adjust as needed. In order to add a gallery that is not connected to your Instagram, I'll show you how to do that. You'll go down here, and instead of social grid, you're going to click on gallery, and then it works the same way. So you'll double click, and then you can add images to your gallery here, and then you will have the same display settings. So gallery settings, you can choose if they auto advance, what type of gallery you want to do. So there's a simple gallery. You can do a tiled gallery where it's like displays multiple images, a simple gallery where it just displays one at a time, or a sliding gallery where it kind of scrolls through, and you can adjust the properties inside the gallery settings. So that about wraps up this video. We covered how to swap out standard images, how to swap out background images, how to connect your Instagram and set fallback images, as well as galleries. So in the next video, we're going to be talking all about the text on your website and switching out your copy.